Hey everybody, it's Wes, and on today's video I'm going to be highlighting the hike from Moraine Lake that takes you through Larch Valley, past Ministima Lake, and to the top of Sentinel Pass. This is one of my favorite viewpoints in all of Banff National Park. In one direction you can take in epic views of the Valley of 10 Peaks, and in the other you can look out into the vast Paradise Valley. If you only have time for one hike originating in the Moraine Lake area during your trip, then this should be it. During today's video, I'll be sharing some footage I shot during our hike, and I'll be discussing tons of useful information you'll want to know before planning your own hike here. Now is also a great time to mention that I lead my own small group trips to Banff, so if you've ever wanted to visit but have felt overwhelmed by the trip planning process, check out the link in the description that will take you over to my Banff trip itinerary. We'll visit all of my favorite stops such as Lake Louise, Takakau Falls, Moraine Lake, and of course, we'll take on the hike out the Sentinel Pass together. Okay, let's jump into the hike. The Sentinel Pass trailhead originates near the shores of Moraine Lake. Moraine Lake is about 1 hour driving from the town of Banff, but accessing Moraine Lake isn't as easy as you might think since the parking lot isn't accessible for private vehicles. You'll either need to secure a Parks Canada shuttle reservation or pay up for private transportation to the lake. The Parks Canada reservations sell out well in advance, so make sure you plan ahead. Once your shuttle drops you off in the parking lot, you'll be steps away from one of Canada's most photographed spots, Moraine Lake. If you arrive early in the morning, which you should, this is also going to be your best time to photograph the lake as it's illuminated by soft morning sun. Not only that, but the rock pile area, which is a popular photo spot, will get swarmed with visitors as the day goes on. Now will be your best time to soak up this spot before it's covered with people. Once you've taken some time to enjoy the views of Moraine Lake, I'd suggest using the restrooms near the parking lot before embarking on your hike, since you won't find any on the trail. Also, keep in mind that cell service in this area and throughout much of Banff National Park is extremely limited. I'd suggest using AllTrails and downloading a trail map before leaving town that morning. I classify this hike as challenging. While the 7 miles or 11-kilometer distance is somewhat moderate in length for a day hike, you'll face a steep grade for much of the hike out, and the last section of trail leading up to Sentinel Pass is extremely steep. In total, you'll gain close to 2,700 feet or about 800 meters of elevation. And since this hike starts at an elevation of about 6,200 feet or 1,900 meters above sea level, it's best to attempt this hike later in your trip once your body has had a chance to acclimate to the elevation of Banff National Park. Admittedly, once you leave the shores of Moraine Lake, you'll have a fairly boring and steep hike for the first portion of your trek. The trail is wooded and doesn't offer much in terms of views until you reach Larch Valley. While we visited in August, Larch Valley is known for its larch trees that ignite in autumn colors in September or October. I'd love to come back to experience this for myself. As you cross through Larch Valley, you'll start to see views of the Valley of 10 Peaks and glaciers that cling to the mountains along the horizon. You'll also find some great places to stop for a quick break. And after passing through Larch Valley, you'll start approaching the Ministima Lakes. By this time, the tree line will have faded away, exposing the rugged mountain terrain below. The lake makes for one last resting spot before you start the grueling climb up the Sentinel Pass itself. This is by far the most difficult part of the hike, as the switchbacks are extremely steep. If you struggle with heights, this might be a difficult stretch of trail for you, as the trail is very narrow with steep drops into the valley below. Trekking poles will come in very handy by now if you've brought them, and as a pro tip, will be even more useful for the steep hike back down. So let this be your reminder to pack trekking poles or to rent some when you get to Banff. But once you complete the challenging climb, you'll be rewarded with one of my favorite viewpoints in all of Banff. From the ridgeline, you can look north, taking in sweeping views of Paradise Valley, and to the south, the best views of the Valley of 10 Peaks, with Larch Valley and the Ministima Lakes helping to frame the shot. While there are a lot of great views in Banff, part of why I like this view so much is the challenge required to get there. I just think that makes the view that much more satisfying. There's a little bit of room on the ridge to hang out and enjoy a packed lunch. Just be mindful that it can get pretty windy up here, so consider bringing an extra layer just in case. Mountain weather can always be a bit unpredictable, and it actually started raining on us during our hike back down to the lake. Don't forget a raincoat and backpack cover while you're at it as well. I'd budget about 5 hours for taking in Moraine Lake and then completing the hike to Sentinel Pass. If you want to round out a perfect afternoon at Moraine Lake, then I'd suggest renting a canoe once you make it back down from Sentinel Pass. Canoes at the lake are first come, first serve, but we didn't have to wait in line despite renting one in the middle of the day. You'll want to budget an additional 60 to 90 minutes if you plan to rent a canoe. The rentals here aren't cheap, but you've come to the most beautiful place in the Canadian Rockies, so if you're looking to save a few bucks, do it on something else. Renting a canoe on Moraine Lake was one of my favorite memories from our trip, and be sure to check out my travel blog. I've published tons of great content around my favorite spots in Banff, including a really detailed guide on hiking out the Sentinel Pass. You can find links to that and more in the video description below. You'll also find a link to my Banff small group application that I mentioned earlier in this video. This is a really great way to see all of the best spots in Banff. You'll even get to travel and hike with me. I'll take care of all the dirty work. All you have to do is show up, make some new friends, and enjoy everything that the Canadian Rockies have to offer. Thanks for joining me on today's adventure. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to Travel with Wes for more exciting travel tips and inspiration just like this. Until next time, safe travels and thanks for watching.